The sword, right here, brand new. We got Miles today with us.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I feel like we've done so many podcasts actually, but we've only done one, I'm pretty sure.
Well, only one recorded, October 2022, yeah.
That was the Associates.
The Associates.
Oh, you know exactly when that was.
Oh, of course, yeah. But then we met in December of 2020.
That's right.
Yeah.
On the internet?
Yeah, Twitter, yep. I was in the childhood bedroom, you were in the lair.
I had the basement office
basement
at
with
my
the
parents.
Whiteboard. Yep.
And I think from there we were talking about like IG stuff.
Yep.
For your personal brand, and then we ended up meeting up in Miami after that, and then became good friends. And we recorded one podcast, but I feel like we've recorded like 5 or 6. But I guess that's just us
talking over the years and hanging out. We'll always chop it up.
We were talking before this at lunch, and I was like, "Bro, relax. We gotta save this for the pod." And then I started getting a little excited, and he goes, "Oh, wait a minute, we gotta save this for the pod." So that's what we're doing. Miles does Amazon.
Yep. Yeah, Amazon personal brand.
Info has a personal brand, and good friend of mine, so figured we'd run a quick episode and have a good chat. So, dude, take it away. Where you been at? What you been doing? Introduce yourself.
Yeah, so this is really my first time on someone else's, like, talking about info, basically, and just openly. I was never wanted to share anything about it at all, yeah. And
I guess I just knew you sold it.
Yeah, and we would always talk about it in person and everything, but now I, like, kind of have been doing it for a while and feel like I have a little bit of authority, and I'm, like to talk about it and everything with you guys totally, so I figured I'd start doing it publicly as well, basically. But yeah, so the past February 2022, launched a low ticket info with a partner. Does way better than I thought it would at like a $300 price point. Completely old school JK Molina, cold email wizard inspiration with that and everything. And that was really eye opening. And then that went super, super well. So I hit you up and I'm like, all right, dude, like, let's throw some fuel on the fire. Let's grow my IG more. And then in May 2022, or April, so right after that, you guys were like, all right, the low ticket's good, but you'll make way more with high ticket. And I'm like, all right, I'll do a cohort of 10 units. We'll see how it goes. I close all the people myself with like an 80% rate or something like that. And then it ends up going really well. The fulfillment's going really well. And I've done over 2,000 units since, basically.
Crazy.
Yep.
Crazy. And you said you went through a transition. You were telling me this off camera. What's the transition you went through about a year ago? Yeah,
so 2022, right when you start info, it's incredibly easy when you have an audience already because you're super new to everyone. And so 2022, it was like one-third Instagram, IG, and Twitter. 2023, the same deal, kept growing it. And then in 2024, some rules changed in the Amazon niche, which made it a little bit harder. But I was in March and April, it was a little bit down comparatively from like literally at this point 2 years. So I'm like, all right, why is it down a little bit? And I realized I hadn't been CTAing on YouTube, which is my highest quality traffic. And I was like, all right, that makes no sense. And then I start taking that seriously. And then June and July were record months immediately once I started putting that into play. And it's just been a great thing ever since.
CTAing?
Oh, literally like.
Just in the videos?
In the videos, which was wrong. But like was so wrong to not be doing that heavily, like owning it, making it clear that I can help you if you want to learn how to do Amazon. You know what I mean? And now that I've started doing that and thinking it through a little bit more strategically, it's made it so I don't need Instagram and Twitter as much, basically, to achieve the same results, which are pretty much where I'm happy because I have other projects I want to put time to as well.
So just before we continue on that, to contextually give people some like idea of how we met and how we know each other. We ended up working together, is what Miles was saying, for his Instagram. I think you had maybe 15, 20K followers?
Right at the start, at the start.
And then we came in, grew it, and did the high ticket with you
Which
at that
is
time.
the best decision I ever made.
Let's go.
Best decision I ever made. Yeah, and it was like, because I had audience, it took off really, really fast, basically, once qualified traffic was paired with a really good offer, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from there, you've ended up scaling it, and you said, so the transition was really just CTAing more.
Yeah,
that was it. I thought you did something big.
Oh, no, that is a big thing, but it was a small thing to change, you know what I mean? But more so just like being willing to, like understanding like the biz ops cycle of interest in something, you have to monetize people while you're there with you, and it can't be like a really long journey. Otherwise, people just churn out of the industry.
I think this is something people really fuck up on, because we obviously grow a lot of people at Launch Socials. And they'll be growing really fast. And they're like, well, I'm only going to focus on the growth. And I'm like, dude, when you have the growth, it's the time that you sell something, because eventually you're not going to have the growth, you're not going to have the excitement, or there'll be a dip or something, and it's going to be a lot harder to monetize. Is that kind of what you're saying?
I completely agree, because like no one watches how to make money online videos in one niche for 6 months or a year. Very rarely do they do it. Typically they start playing around with it a little bit. Some people do, but the vast majority of people, they're figuring out if something's right for them or getting onto something else quick. And so you have a narrow window of time of where if you give enough value, which is the key, is giving enough value, people are happy to, a certain percentage of people are happy to buy from you.
Yep. In that moment.
In that period of when they're learning or looking into it and everything, yeah.
So how is Amazon right now? Like what rules changed? Obviously there's, I think something interesting with Amazon, there's like multiple different business models within it. We help, other people grow their Amazon stuff. How is it right now? How has info changed when it comes to Amazon? Like what's the niche like right now?
Yeah, so I could talk about this for 10 hours basically, but in 2020, my niche basically didn't exist, or 2019 prior.
Yeah.
And selling on Amazon's been a thing for a while, but they changed rules in 2019, 2020 that ended up making it really easy. And that created the arbitrage niche for someone who's brand new, basically, which it didn't really exist prior, even when I started. And so I became a seller in 2021, even after we met. I was a personal finance account back in the day. It's crazy, man. Crazy.
And you were doing agency.
And dude, everything, man. COVID, we're at the crib. I got nothing else to do.
Bro.
Grinding. Beautiful times, man. Beautiful times. And so I had been looking for what was really going to be like my thing for a while, like a year and a half, but putting in concerted effort every day full time, besides going to college. And then Amazon, it was like immediately, like I made like $5,000 profit my first full calendar month. I'm like, all right, here we go. Then 7 figures the first year. But the key is I was always such a Gary Vee guy from back in 2019 that I was always posting stuff to meet people like you on Twitter, but even more Amazon guys, which made Amazon super easy, and I'm building the personal brand. So there were people ready to buy once I started making money or started selling, which was about a year later. And everything. And then, so 2022 is when I start info, and that's like the golden age of when it was the easiest to be an Amazon seller. And I'll be very clear with people about that. Like, they're not hiding anything with that. And then in 2024, the middle of it, they change a couple rules, make it a little bit harder. And I've always been so fulfillment first. I do one-on-ones with everyone. So I know the market so well that all my competition dropped off basically. And because I've spent so much time fulfilling prior, have been prepared to still be able to do a good job, even with the rule changes and it being a little bit harder for the average person. So just serving them better than I used to, pretty much the new people today.
Do you feel like info in general is harder today? Like it's probably harder with Amazon because there's obviously more people that are selling Amazon stuff, and maybe Amazon's gotten a little bit harder with the rules, as you said. But you know a lot of info sellers. I know a lot of info sellers, is what we do. Do you think it's harder now? Do you think it's different? Do you think it's easier? Like, what do you think's changed in the past maybe 4 years?
Yeah, so I think info is like the most beautiful business in the world. It's so awesome. That's why I'm excited to start talking about it publicly a little bit too, like what I've done with it. And so I think it's very hard if you don't really consistently have new qualified traffic finding you. But if you do, YouTube's my favorite, right? It's, you kind of keep growing and everything, and you don't really need to grow your views a ton. It's great to grow your views, but as long as you're consistently getting the same amount, you're always going to be able to make money. And the longer you stick around, this is straight old school cold email wizard, love that guy, but you have time for people's sales cycles to elapse, for them to get to know you over time. Like every now and again, I'll close someone that like first found me in 2023, went out and did some agency stuff or did drop shipping or XYZ thing, and then they end up buying from me because they still see that I'm around, and you can look up good reviews. You can't really look up bad reviews, you know what I mean? And everything. So it's harder if you're not building for the long term, and it's not necessarily easier unless you're in your first couple years, which I hope. I have a long career and I'm still in my first couple years basically. But harder for some people. Like ads I think are pretty hard, but if you're making good organic videos, you're always gonna be able to make money. It's gonna be super, super profitable and everything. And then the people that have struggled, I think, are like very ad reliant. They don't have people that love them from their organic content, and they bloat things in respect to like personal expenses heavily, which you see around here. Like the car inflation's insane.
I was just gonna mention
the car
that.
inflation's the big thing where like A Lambo means nothing anymore, like
No.
literally nothing, which is
like a Huracan doesn't mean anything.
nothing.
But an SVJ still means
well, exactly.
just a little bit of something.
Sure, completely. And everything. So the car inflation thing's really interesting. I've never shown any lifestyle, so that
Yeah, I was
hasn't
just going to
affected
mention
me at all.
that. You have never.
And,
And what's the strategy there personally?
Yeah, it's partially a quality of customer thing in that like
Yep.
I know like 100K a month profit, I'm very happy, and I have like a checkbox of every month if I do that, life is good, and it's been like XYZ straight months basically at this point. But even back to when we were working together, and I don't know, I just like it's really good. I just cover my specific topic, and I do plan on having a broader personal brand in the future, which there'll probably be some lifestyle
Yep.
component of that, but it'll be very like authentic to who I am, pretty much.
Totally.
Yeah, so I just never really aligned with it, because I'd be like living in Pennsylvania back in the day, spending like $800 a month, making the same money I am today, basically, or so I just never really see the need for it.
I think it's really interesting because there's different archetypes. There's like the education archetype,
Which is me.
almost like
Yeah.
Hormozy.
Yeah.
Sit in the closet, just fucking make the video, build the brand, pretty much good to go. There's the guy that maybe doesn't have the best information, but he somehow weasels his way into like, I got the lifestyle flex. And so he uses that as a tool. I almost look at it as more so tools or like amplifying of like, what is the core main selling point and like, I guess you could call it advantage that you have. Like, I think your advantage is your info, like, was genuinely, your education was genuinely some of the best. And you showed up every day. Like, talk about that as well. Weren't you like live streaming every day, plus a video a day, plus like
a bunch
IG,
of stuff.
Twitter?
Yeah, I basically like figured out that I personally, for me, it's just so much easier to do stuff every day than every now and again. Basically, so for like 2 years straight, I did a Twitter thread every day. And then I've been very consistent. When I first started YouTube, I did 3 a week. And then Amazon got so busy that I was selling on Amazon so much I had to stop that a little bit. Basically, but just consistent 2 to 3 a week on YouTube has basically just been what's kept me going for a while. And it's, I mean, hyper profitable when you talk about some of the advantages with like hiring people in different countries and stuff and VAs. Like it's hyper profitable with that.
What is specifically?
Yeah, dude. So I've had the same editor since my first ever. I've only ever interviewed one long form.
VA, like
in the Philippines, the goat. Paid for half his wedding, like inviting him to all that, like the absolute goat. But yeah, man. I mean, I've spent on long form YouTube distribution probably less than 10 grand lifetime in 4 years. Yeah, thumbnails would add more to that, but in terms of like actual like video editing of my core guy, I've used some agencies here and there, which actually would be way more than that. But my core guy it started out $10 a video, and now it's $15 a video. And I'm lucky because I'm screen sharing, so there's not fancy edits and everything, but it's just ridiculously cheap. So like my whole team these days is 2 coaches that are like $1,500, $1,600 a month each, and then thumbnail guy, $20 per thumbnail, long form editor, $15, and that's it. Like that's the Calendly.
You spent
like
maybe
funnels.
10 grand on long form distribution.
Like in
can you
4
say
years.
Can you say what that has attributed to revenue?
Yeah. Oh, millions and millions in profit. Yeah, like
pretty crazy.
Well over like 5.
I was just making a video before this, basically about how it's free to post content.
Unbelievable.
I was, a little hook in there. It's a money glitch.
Yeah.
It is though, because it's basically 10K to make millions is basically free.
Yeah, oh my gosh, man. I would totally add it up. It's something like that, though, like ridiculously cheap over the long term. And he's a great partner, too, because he's taking care of financially as well and everything. So whatever $15 a video times 500 videos is. But once you combined AI with, like, research and stuff, like, I basically just think of, like, all the questions my students ask and all the questions people need to know to succeed with the business, and then just break each of them down, like how to use this software, how to use this software, how to use this software. You do that once a year. You start to just cut into the workload you need for the entire year. Really easy. Like I already know 50 search-based videos I'm making next year, short and a long form each. And like that could be 3 months of work for the whole year needed,
So and you got into the software game too with 2 softwares,
2 of
right?
them, yep. So one product research and then one for like managing the business. So like listing, shipping, and analytics. And it's just better solutions than there was prior on the market. And because I do info, I have a really good reason to really take care of people in the content and give them, then it just adds
and the model there is basically like you get the people in through the info and then it's like, hey, you need these tools to succeed with this, so get on
exactly
subscription
that
service.
Yep.
Got it. I like it.
Yeah,
'Cause we're doing the same thing.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
We're working
as
on
you
that in
should,
the back end. Interesting, bro. It's been, I think with the info space, we talk about changes. Go back to the supercars for a second.
It's
Like,
insane.
you say the inflation. When we started in maybe like 2019, 2020, 2021, I was doing agency then. I didn't have my own info. But at that point, that's when like Tate started to blow up.
Yep.
And Tate had a couple cars, maybe like 4 or something, 5, during that time. Maybe even a couple more, but you get the idea. And it was like, whoa.
And
because no one was posting.
Yeah, no one.
No one was posting. There was a couple guys like kind of
Ty
like.
Lopez, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of had it, but it was like one. Me and this.
And no one younger.
Lamborghini. Yeah,
no one
nobody younger.
At all, yeah.
No one really had anything. There was a couple guys maybe here and there. I remember I think like Jake Paul bought a Lambo, and it was like, whoa, that makes sense. He's a crazy big influencer, But there wasn't really anybody. And you look at it now, 6 years later, and everyone's got one. Everybody's got one. It's not special anymore. I scroll through the IG reels because that's my job. I need to go check things out, and the team also encourages me to, go check it out, dude. Look at what these kids are posting, and it's all like an SVJ with this POV caption over it and that sort of thing, and they're like 19. So there's been like a lot of inflation within the lifestyle flexing sort of thing. However, I still think it works. Maybe combined with a personality, combined with information and education. But I'm curious, like, what do you think caused that to happen? Where did that even come from? How was it that no 19-year-olds were affording these things, and now every 19-year-old that makes it is affording these things?
So when we started, there was no info. There was selling courses.
That's
true.
true.
What I mean?
It was courses up until like
exist.
2020, 2021.
Yeah, exactly.
For the most part.
It literally didn't exist. Like, remember, like Ben was doing those crazy numbers with the trading offer back in the day on like, I'm pretty sure just like a watch these videos.
It was a $397 course.
Yeah, like watch these videos. So like, there was no info. Low key, the term info was created because selling courses has a bad rep, but that's a story for another day. I mean, as understandably so, but I do believe
it's an
that.
education company, bro.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So, so like that literally didn't exist. But why it's happened is just because with info, you make a ton of money fast. And if you weren't lucky like we were to learn those habits from either like watching influencers who talk about investing and stuff, your money has to go somewhere. And a lot of people don't have the discipline to let it sit in the account and not spend it. I think you and I are sharp where I'm getting rid of it, man. Like, keep it away from me and everything. And so it's got to go somewhere, and it ends up going to that stuff.
Well, I mean, that's a great point. The past 2 years have been very interesting. I've talked about it publicly a little bit, but, my girlfriend and I, we had, miscarriage and then, mold poisoning, the whole sort of thing. And it's just, I'm glad I had the money saved.
Yeah.
Because it was just very easy to get through that from a financial sense. It's very difficult to sit there and grind through the work when you have all these life things going on. So it allowed us to survive, keep the business going, didn't have to fire anybody because you couldn't afford it, that sort of thing. And that has been probably the best thing I ever did, was not spend all of my money.
Which everyone spends all their money. Everyone.
Is that just a Miami bubble thing?
No, of course it's a Miami bubble thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But no one else is making the money that people are making here.
So when you say everyone spends all their money, like, do you have an example of like what you're seeing that's like making you think that or say that?
The selling the car stuff and everything, and the anti-materialism stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to post an anti-materialism thing. I don't need to, because it was never a thing in the first place. You know what I mean? And everything. And so, yeah, I mean, that is a big thing. And then like seeing people talking about like shutting down their info too as well is a huge thing. You know what I mean? Like, and everything as well too. Yeah.
You don't want to name any names?
Oh, no.
I'm just messing.
Anyone still watching has names in mind. But there's a lot of, I don't know. It's so interesting because like there's some people that are so clearly doing phenomenally. You know what I mean? Which is awesome and everything. But like, it's really easy to tell people getting desperate around stuff,
What's a prime example of desperation?
Yeah, I'd say like the CTAing often, definitely. And then like losing authenticity and everything as well. And like going way over the top with lifestyle too.
Yeah.
You know?
Like almost becoming someone you're not, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
In the process.
Yeah.
You know, there's a transition point, I feel like, where you go from making the content because you like the content and it's your brand and you want to build your brand and you enjoy it, to holy fuck, like
Gotta make money.
I gotta make money.
Yeah.
And
it's a place
that
you never wanna
transition
be.
point is not you don't want to be there, because then you start to use your audience, you start to suck your audience dry, I guess I could say.
Yeah, completely.
You know, this happens to a lot of guys where they'll grow a big brand, you know, business will get big, and then they'll have the team, the software, everything, and then something will change. And then that change tanks them for a month or two, and they're like, oh my God, or like they'll stop growing, and then they suck the audience dry with ads, and they're like, well, what do I do now? You know, and they get to that point where they're stuck and they have to CTA over and over and over again.
And when you're spending money, you're not making it too. So it's an active force of hurting you, and it's not helping you grow as well. So yeah, I mean, and over time too, your organic starts to burn out a little bit more if you're not constantly replenishing it, and if you're spending all your time getting into these activities that hurt your bank account and everything, you're not putting that active energy towards making it as much. It gets a little tougher.
So you haven't done ads at all, right?
Just the shout out stuff back in the day, and probably 10K lifetime on Twitter. So yeah.
So talk to me about that, because you're mostly organic, not ads. I'm very similar. Spend a similar amount on ads, very very minimally. I always look at it as like a multiplier, as a way to basically just get more CTAs out without really hurting the organic too much, just like retarget the audience. But I'm curious, like, your thought process when it comes to it. Why don't you run more ads? The offer's obviously proven, you have a team, that sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's honestly just being happy with where it's at and knowing that if I keep it going for X, Y, Z years, I'll get everything I ever wanted. From a lack of material need, I think, which is not some like ego thing or whatever. I just like, my favorite thing to do is play basketball. We can play basketball with $0. You know what I mean? like honestly, and everything. And then also, yeah, I don't know, just never really got into it too much, basically. Like, the organic has always just been what I'm looking for and everything, and the lifetime value from the software helps too as well, in terms of not needing as much from info too.
What's the big, actually, before I ask that, what did you want when you started?
Oh man, it's funny, because it was like, I want $1 million and to go live in Thailand. You know what I mean? And then info took care of that very quick.
Yeah. Did you ever live in Thailand?
Definitely not now. No, definitely not now. But like, yeah.
Why'd you want to live in Thailand?
Because it was cheap, man. You know, and I know, like, as long as I got the basketball, I'm good, and everything. But and then it was like, and then I was like, all right, I'm gonna live to Miami, and I'm gonna get to like 3, and then do what I want. And I just realized how unbelievably boring not working is. Yeah, which could be a mental illness, but it's all right.
No, I mean, I think it's real. Like, there's a lot of people that are old that retire, and then they don't have anything going on, they just
like,
die.
Trump, man, is out there doing all his thing at 80 or whatever, yeah.
Okay, so the Thailand thing was you just wanted it to be cheap. Then the $1 million was just...
Because I was a personal finance account, so that's the world when you're a personal finance account. Yeah, so you're...
Spend low, make high,
Toyota Camry, millionaires drove Toyota, which is so not true as well, you know what I mean? At least for people who
When are you going to get a crazy car and start flexing it?
Probably not. I still haven't bought a car. I did actually technically buy a car, which is coming in 2 weeks, but it's a Tesla. It's like $1,000 a month or whatever.
Not the electric.
Yeah, no, Elon.
What kind of, what about Elon?
The Model 3 with all the specs. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Just don't let it fry your balls.
All right, understandable. Yeah.
I'm just messing with you. Okay, and that's interesting, because when I started, I wasn't even conceptually thinking of that. I was just like, make 10K a month.
That was my first one too, completely. Yeah, so like writing that down in the journal, reading like, the tweets of that, the 2020 Money Twitter was so popping, reading all those dudes' tweets and everything. And yeah, that was first one. But I've never, really after that, I've never thought about it in income. I've always thought about it in portfolio value, which has served me so well.
Why?
Because I learned investing before I learned business. I read, all these books and these blogs and stuff from people who accumulated millions over decades, like saving from their jobs and stuff. So I understood that. That made sense to me way before I learned how to make money.
What do you think happens to most of these guys that are making all this money? Spending it all? Or just let's just say making all this money from info, agency, we'll say online money guys, kids in general, early 20s. What do you think happens to the average one in the next 5-10 years?
That's a great question, because if you're connected and everything, your worst case is you're closing on a great offer. Which is
that's
not a bad
everything.
life.
You call your boys up.
That's not a bad life at all, man. You know what I mean? That's what we would kill for a couple years ago. But I have no idea, because it would be bizarre to have like an insane lifestyle and then be making no money a couple years later, which does happen to people. Like a lot of professional athletes, that's how it is.
Yeah.
And stuff. And you know, info, there's very few people that make like 8 figures from it, but like there's a bunch of people that make 500K, $1 million, etc. with a really good lifestyle around it. So I have no idea, but I don't think it's pretty, you know what I mean? But the guys who like lock in and save and invest and everything are gonna be chilling, even if they don't want to work.
Do you think info is easier than Amazon?
Oh, substantially, but you can't do you
can't
actually,
do it without it.
But that's the thing. Like, if you take a look, like the average person is way better equipped to do a faceless business than have a personal brand.
Agreed.
Like, the scariest thing in the world for like the vast majority of people is judgment of random people on the internet or people they know on the internet. And it's the biggest blessing that my dog Gary V was like, screw that to me back then. I'm like, you're right, man. But that's the thing. I was making content in like 2011. You know what I mean? Like, I was a YouTube kid about Legos and stuff.
Really?
I had a personal brand in Legos.
I didn't know that. Oh,
you know about that. Yeah, you know about that. Yeah,
Yes,
so like
yes.
I was like, you know, I was, you know, like.
Were you doing the garage sales too?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, well, that's very Lego oriented. Yeah, so I had a personal brand around Legos in like 2012 and everything. So.
And in terms of like fear of judgment, did you ever have that?
Well, the nice thing was the Legos was anonymous, so no one at my school knew about it. So I was really nervous about their judgment. And then once you're doing it for a while and this person learns, you end up no one cares. So like by the time I was doing like the business personal brand, no one cares.
Something that I've got over recently, actually, and this is funny, talk about fear of judgment. There's definitely a lot of high-level friends that I have that are more anonymous, brand owners, e-com, maybe affiliate guys. And they look down on the personal brand shit so much. But they're friends of mine. And so it's an interesting, because I'll see them tweet, why would I ever have a fucking personal brand that's super gay,
but they
blah,
tweet.
blah, blah.
They have what they need from it. They know the people they want to need.
Or anonymous,
okay,
whatever.
True,
that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, I'll be like making a video and I'm like, you know, what are they going to say about that one?
They're not paying the bills. They're not loading up the investment portfolio.
Agreed.
Yeah. I'm the one doing it. You're the one doing
That's
it.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
That's right.
For ourselves, not for them. I'm sure they're doing it too, but regardless, yeah.
It's, I feel like, to be vulnerable for a second, I feel like I've been out of the game a little bit for the last 2 years. We were sitting here talking about content the other day. I'm pointing at the team member, the videographer, sales guy. I feel like I've been out of the game for like maybe 2 years or so. Because when everything happened, I was just like, all right, like, I just got to tweet to make money, make sure, you know, the agency stuff keeps going, and make sure the clients are taken care of, and we got to, you know, bring more clients in at the same time. And I stopped focusing as much on video as I should. And this year I started to turn it back on and really almost find my footing. Because the last time that I really, really was ripping video content, I would say it was probably 2 years ago when we had the Team House. And we had the podcast. We were on like a trajectory with that. You know, I really think if that kept going in the way that it did, we were going to be like, that pod itself would have been like fresh and fit sort of level. And so it's almost like a rediscovery process of what is my end goal with my brand, and like, how do I want to grow my business? And so it's been really interesting as that's happening, seeing a lot of these new guys pop up out of nowhere with short form
and
just go crazy. And it doesn't make me feel any other way other than like, all right, like, how can I tap my brand message back into that now that I'm switched back on to the video content? And the distribution that you're able to get from short form, like we're seeing it with a client right now. He actually just texted me. He was on the podcast recently, Nate, as you know.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He texted me. He's like, yeah, 100K on this new video. And he's got, 1,000, 1,500 followers on IG. I think he just hit 2K. And he just hit 100K on this new video and just gained, 500, 600 followers and, overnight. And the distribution, basically what I'm saying, the distribution that you're able to get from short form content, from just content in general right now, for free, is actually insane to me, because we didn't really have that 4 or 5 years ago. I feel like people started to ask the platforms, and TikTok made it reality, where people started to ask the platforms for more distribution. More. We want more distribution. And it kind of warped the way the game is played a little bit. because we used to throw up like an IG post.
Yeah, a picture,
A
and
picture
it would rip,
IG
which
post,
is
and it would hit
insane
the
to think
Explore
about.
page consistently, and you just get followers from it. And now the game is you need to post 5 reels a day to break into the algorithm, and the right message is going to go. But you have to be way higher volume, and it needs to be way more top of funnel. And that's something that I've been consistently sort of wrapping my mind around, because even the past 2 years, the game has changed so much. And so I'm curious what you've seen. I'm curious if you relate to that at all. But obviously, you've been mostly YouTube. I know you don't use IG as much or TikTok as much.
Yeah.
I remember it was even funny. I followed you on TikTok a while ago. And then, I see it, and it's like Miles. But then it's your girlfriend posting stuff, because I think she has a TikTok shop.
Yeah, well, and we use
and
that
I go,
account for it.
What happened to Miles?
I've had like several TikTok accounts over the year. Yeah, and in the same way, there's a ton of like discoverability and monetizability on short form. A lot of people get comfortable with short form. And like there's a ton of people that make short form about Amazon, and there's so few people that do it consistently long form. It's really just me and my partner on the low ticket, who's a great guy as well. But I saw the high ticket off of it basically and everything. And I would say the same thing in that, like, I know that every year I'm going to make a seller amp guide. Every year I'm going to make a how much money does it take to start. And I know that's going to live where my qualified traffic's going to see it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of relatively the same thing. You know what I mean? And everything but more search based too. And that's the nice thing about I've never left home with the Amazon space is 2026. I know what I'm going to make. I know what I'm going to say. I know what hook performed well back in the day. 2027. It's going to be the same exact thing.
You're not reinventing the wheel.
You're
just doing what works.
At all. And I feel like such a moron for not doing that heavy in 2023, not doing that heavy in 2024.
So touch on that for a second. When you say not reinventing the wheel at all, are you basically just making the same topics and videos over and over every year?
Every year. Yeah, every year. Yeah. And I remember, like, if looking at like my 2022 content, it's all like, it's very little search based. It's all discoverability based, which is the lowest quality traffic in respect to search based, the highest quality traffic and everything. And I was talking to ChatGPT about this for a while, which is so cool that that's even a thing. And yeah, like now I know really well how to go do those search based videos too. And I have big plans for it coming. And those are really easily repeatable too. It's the title templates are really easy and everything.
So for you, you have a very consistent business. You got the softwares. You're still doing Amazon?
Not as much. Yeah.
So, I mean, dude, you're pretty much set, right? You've stacked away.
No, but we want to get more, Nick.
I know.
We want to get more.
I know. I'm leading up to it. So what is the trajectory now? Like, how has your goals changed now that you've kind of made it with online biz?
Yeah. So basically, if there was stuff to do besides like working that was engaging, I would do it heavily. You know what I mean? But I haven't found it yet. Basically, outside of like spending time with friends and stuff and everything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just keep rolling up the cash flow and pounding the investments until the next step shows itself, which it always has in the past. You know what I mean? Which is good. And
is software an example of that?
Perfect example of that. Absolutely perfect example of that. And like once info started doing really well, I was like, literally like the second the first launch of info went really well, I think I had like a YouTube long form editor post out the next day. I was like, all right, I got to start hitting this hard and everything. So yeah, just keep doing that for now. And the next step will show itself. But worst case, it's, $1 million profit till the wheels fall off, like per year. Yeah. Which is not a bad life at all.
What do you think about the inflation that's going on right now? I think it's crazy.
In like lifestyle or like America or like how much stuff costs?
Like not lifestyle inflation, spending more. I'm saying like how much stuff costs. Like I feel groceries have gotten insane. I feel like rent's gotten insane, especially for the average person.
It's tough.
You obviously aren't feeling it that much. It's like whatever. You made a lot of money for a long time.
But it's sad as hell
though
that like kids our age can't buy houses. You know what I mean? Even that are doing good. It's very, very sad. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have my thoughts on where it goes. Where do you think it goes?
Oh, dude, I no idea. Yeah, I always try to remove myself as much as possible from macro trends and just focus on what I'm doing as like a micro person and like the people around me and everything. But yeah, it's fascinating because it's easier to learn stuff than ever, but it's also easier to be distracted than ever. Like, it's even just putting your phone in airplane mode is such an incredible productivity hack, which is bizarre because it's so easy and everything. So yeah, I got no idea, but like I just know if you know the right people and build the right infrastructure, you're always going to be able to make money and you'll be fine.
Agreed. I agree. However, I think we're going to go crazy with inflation in the next couple of years. I think like what we see right now is going to get way worse. And what you say about networking, knowing the right people, being in the right opportunity, I think becomes even more important.
Completely.
Especially now because, I don't know, I think they're going to start printing a lot. Again, personally, like I think national debt will go to like 100 trillion. I think it'll go
like
insane.
3x more than it already. Oh man, yeah.
But like it's already exponential. It's already going straight up.
Because there's interest rate.
And so I think if that happens, it's going to get way worse. And what you said, like having the network, being in the right opportunity, having the right assets means so much more in that scenario. Like imagine the national debt triples, your stocks probably triple too.
Yeah. That would be crazy. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Like, if you look at how it's gone recently, the little bit I know about like macroeconomics, basically that might be a thing, you know?
So, Miami. Let's talk about Miami.
Oh, okay.
I want to talk about Miami because you said we were eating lunch before this. You said when you came down and visited my apartment, was that
2021, man.
That was 21.
4 years ago, yeah.
What? And I was living in Brickell at the time.
Yep.
You said it was eye-opening. What did that mean?
It was unbelievable that kids my age were living like that, basically, and I had no idea in like a year I'd be able to as well with info.
You were balling at that time, though.
No, that was my first 10K month. That month. Yep.
Really?
First 10K profit month. Yep.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Yeah. So when I came, I had never had one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So not nothing, man. Yeah. Like I had my first 10K month and first 100K profit months in the same like 8-month period.
And when you say living like that,
high
that.
rise, anything that was above like $1,000 a month for living. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm from you could buy a house in my town for 150K where I'm from.
Same here.
Yeah. Exactly.
Same here, yep.
Yeah.
So what's interesting about that to me is, we've been kind of like that for probably in my entire career. I've been around more of the high-rise stuff at this point in terms of amount of years.
Substantially, yeah.
Than I have like trying to make it to that. And so it almost warps my brain a little bit where I sort of forget what it was like beforehand. And, I remember when I first moved, I was like, yeah, like I'm the man.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Like,
and I was
man.
like, you're the man. Yeah.
Stop. But I was like, yeah, I'm the man. And then it gets, it's like, all right,
You get used to things so quick, yeah.
Been used to it. I think that's where a lot of the lifestyle inflation comes from. And I've been very disciplined in that regard.
Because you need stimulating things to do. And if work's stimulating, you're in a good spot. But if it's not, then it's tough.
I've taken a couple of trips and stuff,
of course. But not right away.
No. Yeah, and that's really interesting that you mentioned that, like, kids are living like that, because it almost seems like everyone is living like that now, even though it's not the case. I guess maybe, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's still that the average person that's early 20s still looks at that and is like, whoa. Would you say that's accurate?
I think completely. Looking at how like my students will ask me about it and stuff and everything.
Really?
Oh, totally. Yeah, because my average student, like anyone who like looks up Amazon has seen like some semblance. Anyone who's under 30, which because I don't show lifestyle, I also get an older demographic typically.
Yep.
Which those people get way better results typically because they're way more committed.
Would you say that I show lifestyle?
Tastefully, yeah.
Yeah.
Here and there,
It's interesting.
But you're also helping people do info, which has substantially more potential from like a massive income perspective. I'm helping people quit their 9 to 5. You know what I mean? So it's different. So if I were talking about info, I would show a lot more lifestyle, basically, yeah.
Thanks for validating.
Yeah, and personal brand. Oh, it makes complete sense though. Yeah, because it'd be inauthentic for me to like, not that I like fly private or anything, but to be like flexing on people if I were to, and it's very inauthentic. But like, does info provide an unbelievable 20 to 30K a month with not a ton of effort if you do it right? Like for a lot of people, yeah. And then you can't not fly private, but you can live in whatever crib you want for the most part and everything.
Totally. I asked that because, we still have an older demographic. Like our average client is probably 25 to 35 on average.
And you would consider that older? I would consider above 30 older. Yeah.
I agree with that. I think like we do get a lot of like 30-year-olds, late 20s, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I say that in the sense of I think that the biggest people right now in the space are younger 20s,
100%, yeah.
mid 20s, and they're selling to teenagers.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I consider that like super
yeah,
young.
True, yeah, definitely. And those guys are doing a good job too. Yeah, and then there's so much money to be made in the older demographics.
Like,
Yeah,
even consider like 25 years old is 4 years out of college, 4 years out of college. So you've definitely had a job for at least, well, hopefully you've had a job.
Yeah.
For at least some semblance of a couple of years. You know, you're kind of deep into it. You can make maybe adult decisions. So I would consider that older, I guess.
Because if I could just have one client forever, it would be the college athlete that's worked a job for a couple years. That they know what it's like to work on projects with the boys, but they've also tasted bureaucracy and HR and getting constricted.
Did you ever have that? Did you ever have the HR experience?
I did one internship in 2019 where on the first day I already knew for a fact I was never going to have a job. I did it because it was required for college, and that helped really validate.
You graduated?
Yeah. Early, but yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Not gonna make it, right? Yeah.
I don't know the bureaucracy though of. I definitely noticed it.
You just see these stallions, man. They're just they're
beat down.
Beat down. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah.
No, you're chilling. Like I saw it when I worked at a golf course, so I was pretty chill because I was like playing a little golf. No, I was working a little bit and then playing a lot of golf for free. So I was just I was getting good at my golf game, playing with older guys that have done business for a while, just like talking to them. I'm like 17 years old. That was cool. But they were always watching you on the cameras. The owners would always watch you on the cameras. It's like they call in, "What are you doing? Why are you sitting there?" "I'm behind the desk at the pro shop." "What do you mean?" So like that was my first kind of taste of it. Then I went to college, and I just remember, like in kindergarten classrooms, they have like the bulletin boards, but they're like covered in like fancy paper and that sort of stuff.
I'm imagining it.
They had that in the college dorm room like hallways. And so I'm like, why am I back in kindergarten? There's all the orientation stuff, the bureaucracy of that. Then I say I want to drop out of college. They try to put you through this whole process, all the bureaucracy there. And then I get a job selling cars. And that was cool because there's like definitely some freedom. But as you say, there's stallions there. Guys that are like, could be high T winners. Go and crush it, are just kind of getting beaten down. And I knew I didn't want to be that.
The best part of info is giving those guys a chance to relive like that, because like college sports is fun. I've never played college, but it's fun because you're in the locker room with your guys. And that's how I want online business to be like for as many of my students as possible. So like there's all types of fulfillment stuff I do that no one else does, or at least for my niche. Like I always encourage people to like get on Twitter and Instagram, start talking about what they're doing with Amazon so they can find other people like them. I put like text group chats together of people on iMessage with my personal phone with them.
Nice.
Getting them. And I just want to like integrate the business into their life as much as possible, because your whole life is business for the most part. My whole life is business for the most part. And that's why we win.
It's so much fun.
And it's because it's such a priority. And my goal is with helping my students is to just integrate it into their life. And I want them thinking about it in the shower. I want them thinking about it when they wake up. I want them thinking about it when they're at the desk at work. And there's so much equity and potential found in the brain power putting it there.
There's also a piece of that where you're doing that and they want to prove to you at the same time that they're the guy, that they can get it done, because you're putting them on so much too. It's almost like another marketing mechanism of they see Miles all the time.
Yeah, I think completely. Yeah, like, and you want it to be like cult's not a great word, but you want to, I mean, kind of a little bit, but like you want herd mentality. You want people working together
propaganda.
And everything. Yeah, okay, exactly. Yeah, yeah, because like why Amazon was so easy for me and so successful was because like my first month, people were calling me to tell me that products were popping, that I had never paid or anything like that. They were calling me to plug me in on stuff. And so that was why, and you with Instagram stuff back in the day, that was why things were easy, was because you had other dudes locked in with us working on the stuff together. The average, normie has no one. Their online business is them in their computer late at night with their friends being like, yo, let's gamble on sports.
Well, we both probably had that to a degree.
I was very lucky because of COVID and because I went to a school where no one lives around where I live that went to my school basically, and it was COVID. So sparingly, but not much. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely had that.
Yeah.
Where it was like, dude, come hang out with us. Let's drink. Let's play Fortnite. And I had just dropped out, and I was working that sales job, and I was starting to tinker with the online business stuff, trying to figure things out. And the time that I would spend maybe go and hang out with friends, I had to cut off the day ones, man.
I hate this.
No, I'm kidding. But actually, like, I realized some of those things were just not serving me anymore. And I knew what served me was actually putting in the work and figuring things out. And I just ended up reverting to that after I started to realize, probably shouldn't be doing that. That doesn't really get me where I want to be. And I feel like that's kind of when I became an adult, is I was able to make that choice.
And have the responsibility to say no to people and things. And it's funny because like on Twitter, there's a joke about like RuneScape being like, were you ever playing RuneScape back in the day?
Clash of Clans.
Clash of Clans is lit too, yeah. So like I was really into that, but then sports became my main addiction, and now business is. But people translating those to like really financially productive things. That's why like there's so many guys, like pretty much everyone is either like like Fortnite pros, a bunch of younger kids that were Fortnite pros, or like loved XYZ sport or XYZ video game, whatever, and you just translate that addiction into this stuff.
It seems like it's always sports, always video games.
Yeah, I don't really know what else.
And I think the habit was you were trying to be the best
at
what you were doing.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it transitioned into, I want to be the best at money.
Yep.
Making money, cash flow, online business. I look at it too because, bro, I was definitely super addicted to Clash of Clans when I was like 13, 14. I was young.
Dude, I was playing Clash of Clans heavy later, like 18, 19.
Oh, really?
But I was like that. Yeah,
So
like super like that.
You load up your phone. I just remember, bro, I was up till 2 a.m., late at night, ripping the Clash of Clans. You got the iPad with one account, you got the phone with the other. I'm 13 years old, and I'm just trying to grind, you know? Then you got sports in the morning, you got practice, I did I don't know. I did a sport, I think it was like cross country or something, like indoor in the winter, because I was like, I need to be lean.
That would be track.
I need to be,
track.
Yeah, whatever, track. In the winter, I was like, I need to be lean. I need to get ready for baseball season in the spring. So I did that, and I was waking up at like, I don't know, 3-4 hours later after grinding Clash of Clans at night to go to like the morning practice. And then you do doubles later in the day, and then I do some baseball. And so during that time, I was grinding. I was specifically like, I was like ranked. I got like ranked during that time. I was trying to go crazy with it. But that exactly translates over to online business, and I feel like specifically with social media, because it's like you're trying to get these videos ranked. Like your account ranked in the game is like getting a 1 million view video after another one, after another one, after another one. There's not necessarily maybe an account specific metric other than follower growth in terms of ranking, but there definitely is like when you're in the algorithm on social media, you're in the algorithm and you're ripping, and it's basically like the same skill set. And so every day, instead of waking up and doing your little battle that you would do, or playing your Call of Duty, or whatever, I've never played RuneScape, so I don't know anything about it. But
it was an economy. That was what was cool about it. It was an economy, so you could trade stuff with people and everything. Yeah.
But so like that as a skill, like you're doing that, you're trying to be the best. You're trying to get all your levels up.
I was trading with people too.
And that translates over 10 years later now. That translates over to, let's rank up my social media account and get money out of this and build my business. It's the exact same skill set, exact same like wiring in my brain.
Yeah, you brought up a great point with the high school sports, for like the practice before school. I think the number one most helpful thing, maybe in my entire life, I realized my dad was right about everything. But besides that, was going to a school that had required sports 3 seasons, and even if you played a travel sport, you still had to do their sport. So my day today is, or my average day is wake up at 7, content or fulfillment till 9, workout till 10, calls till noon, stream at 4, and then calls from either 7 to 9 or 8 to 9, and then fulfillment in between on my phone and stuff. And that schedule is very similar to my high school schedule of like wake up, school till 3, sports till 5, eat, and then travel sports 7 to 9 or whatever, weekends. And so I've never had free time in my entire life. I never want to have free time. And that was the biggest thing, was that my school, even if you played a travel sport, would still let you, or they still made you do their sport. And that made me busy as hell, and I want to be busy as hell forever. Because it gives no time for like the devil to creep up. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
No time for bullshit to creep in.
And the key is, I don't know if it's like parents don't want their kids doing that these days, or kids say no to them or whatever, but like that was a huge thing. because in high school I would have loved to only have played travel basketball, but I had to play lacrosse. I had to think differently, and like keeping going with that too. I might just be insane, but like I was always like, I play lacrosse left-handed, I kick left-footed. Like having those different outlets of moving your body in different ways also helped, I think too. But the big thing was the schedule. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I am a huge proponent of that. Yeah.
Okay, so break down the schedule again. So it's
Yeah,
like real
so-
clear, slow.
Yeah, sure. Like for now or
Yeah,
for,
right
okay,
now.
Now, so it's like wake up at 7 every day, 7 days a week, work till 9, and then work out at the crib.
Every day? Work?
Every day, 7 days a week. Yeah, 7 days a week.
What about when you're traveling? Does it change?
Oh, completely. Yeah, but like I'll load up before, like load up so then I can do whatever I want
Yep.
with travel. Yeah. So content till 9 or fulfillment on the computer, right? And then work out till 10. So work out from like 9 to 10 and take a walk. And then one-on-ones, either 10 to 11 or 10 till noon, depending. I have no team meetings or anything. I've never reviewed a sales call to this day. Taken 4,000 sales calls, never reviewed a single one. I've just branded my way out of so many things a lot of people have to worry about, I think, which might be wrong, but who cares? And then typically afternoons are more available, and then live stream at 4, 3 days a week, 4 days a week. Sometimes a call at 4, and then 4 or 5 days a week, calls 8 to 9 or 7 to 9. Yeah.
I'm similar in that.
Yeah.
I like a routine, I like a schedule, but it changes based on where I'm at usually. Like, just came back here, just moved back here from like a bunch of traveling and whatever. Impossible to have a schedule, Airbnb, and back and forth. Like, I thought it was going to be possible, but it's just, you know, you get to a new location, then you got to find your food, you got to find where your gym's going to be. Takes a couple days, you really lock in, you're not sure. So, still kind of get my footing back here because we got the whole team here, you know, a lot of people, but I'm the exact same way, but we live at the beach, so I gotta sneak the beach.
Well, that's
in,
that.
bro.
The afternoon's available for
Okay.
pickleball,
Okay.
and you know I'll play basketball twice a week, get in some arguments with some random people, you know, like all that. Yeah. You need that outlet.
At the courts over here.
The YMCA. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep. I'll burn the loop. But if anyone's this deep in the podcast, come play basketball. Come play basketball. Yeah.
We'll have to play.
Oh,
Come back.
100%. Yeah.
I haven't
100%.
played in a while.
Yep. But that's the thing. Why I was able to make money in info immediately, and why you were able to be really successful pretty quick too, like obviously, like right away when you started doing it, is because you were connected enough that when you come to Miami, you see your guys. When you go to LA, you see people. Like I knew for a fact when I come here, it's like, all right, I'm going to link up with Nick when I came down the first couple of times.
Yep.
And everything. And that infrastructure and those relationships you build, so many of the people we knew back in the day, everyone that's still around is really, really making good money and doing good things.
And for me, dude, all those things came from Twitter and Instagram.
Everything.
I met all those people. I met you, anybody else in our circle. My circle, obviously, we have slightly different circles, but it all came from Twitter and Instagram. Me posting content, networking, people liking it, me liking their stuff, chatting the DMs. Oh, let's jump on a Zoom. Let's jump on a, let's text, whatever. And then you end up becoming friends because you're in the same industry, and you end up meeting up, and it's just so like-minded.
You know a guy for that. Like, I would love to go through, like, I actually probably could do it. I might not have been sending Zoom invites back in the day, but, like, I can think of so many people like Jimmy, Ben, you, your ex-partner, a ton of people where like I just, Alex Hayden, where like I just got on a Zoom with them randomly one day and now they're like a friend still, like to this day basically, just off of like, I don't know whether they might have seen something in me or I saw something in them or whatever, and we just like started talking, chopping up about stuff, and that really compressed getting things done so easy because I like knew for a fact once info started growing really well, I was like, all right, let me get my IG popping. You guys really write help for that and everything.
I think also the piece of that is this space attracts very like-minded people. Obviously, there's different circles, different groups, people interested in different things, but everyone's pretty much like-minded. Like, I want to make money.
Seed oils.
I want to be free. No seed oils. You're trying to be... I mean, I would say basically everybody that I know that cares about internet money is like...
Yeah.
And switched on. Maybe the younger guys don't, but pretty much you're switched on, you're a little bit older. You're really into the health stuff. Usually, I see. So, but like... You add all those things of gym, maybe some guys are fighting, you're obviously playing basketball, just the health stuff with the sun, the location. You add all that up, it's like, you're about like 80% roughly the same person in terms of interests and what you actually like doing and where you like going. And that is a great recipe for a friend, I would say.
Absolutely, 100%.
And that's why it works.
And they're tough to find walking down, in Miami you could find them walking down the street, but nowhere else in America you can,
Maybe
pretty
you
much.
used to in LA.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Maybe a little New York City right now.
Yeah, probably. But like, it's you meet those people on the internet. You meet those people
for the
on
most
internet.
part.
Yeah,
Because there's hubs of them.
and you get mutuals.
'Cause,
Mutuals
dude,
is the
if
biggest
I
thing.
opened up Twitter right now, as you know, and this is also, I'm mostly saying this for the camera, but if I opened up Twitter right now, I could go on my feed and there's probably 50 people I could scroll past. I'd be like, you would probably be a friend of mine if we were like hanging out or whatever, get some cigars, go play basketball, let's hit an ocean swim, whatever it is. I like the ocean swim.
Oh yeah,
Fuck lunch. Why are we going to lunch? Let's go to have an ocean swim.
Yeah, ocean swim, Sunmax walk, all that. Yeah, all that. Yeah.
Dude, what else do you want to share with people if they're watching? Like, what's a message that you want to get out? I don't think you do a lot of podcasts.
Yeah, not much, but like you'll never make less progress in life having a great reputation on the internet, right? Whether you're selling info or just looking to make friends or everything. So I think that's a really good thing, is giving these algorithms a chance to change your life. Doesn't cost any money on all that. And then once you start getting money, keep it, grow it. It's very good. That's actually the easy part, but it's the hard part for a lot of people. But it's the part that takes the least effort, and just use the compound interest calculator, and it'll take care of you.
And then you get your
take care of it.
fancy shit afterwards. Like, the game is you make the money with something like Miles and I are describing. You then put it into investments. Your investments then spit out new cash flow. If you're in the right things, or some things don't, you get the idea. They spit out new cash flow. Then you go buy the thing with the new cash flow. You buy the thing with the appreciation. You don't buy it with the initial money you made, because that's how it goes down immediately.
And the last thing is, my boy said this to me this morning when he's asked how much money should I be making before I get XYZ thing. And I said, wait till you have 2 or 3 mil invested. And he replied, the best way I've ever broken this down, he said, okay, so not cash flow affordability, but net worth percent. I was like, yes, you just somehow described everything.
And I would say it's both too. Like, you should have the net worth percent plus the cash flow.
Yeah,
but
but
you feel very broke without the cash flow.
Because it's really easy to justify a $4,000 a month car payment when you're making 30, but it's a lot harder when that's.
I couldn't justify
well,
that.
I couldn't either. But I'm saying a lot of people do.
Yeah,
I definitely couldn't, but a lot of people do. But like, if you consider you have $100,000 in the bank, but that car costs $250 total, then it's like, why in your right mind would you ever do that?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So that's the frame I like to think of.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
I would say, bro, 4K a month car payment when you're making 30K profit a month.
People do it. I don't think you should, but people do.
I mean,
yeah.
I'd say at least 100.
Yeah, well then, yeah, exactly. And then the problem is, when you're making 100, it's really tough to keep it there. You got to be really sharp. But and then other things start to pile up too as well. So I just never did any of that, and it's done well.
Like what? What else piles up?
I mean, people like the watches is a huge thing. But this I bought for a big milestone 3 years ago. You still held off. Yeah,
I don't care about
yeah.
watches though.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. Yeah. I mean, cars. The club is a huge one around here. Yeah. Dinner. Yeah.
Yeah. Sick, dude. Do you have any questions for me before we end it?
So if
What do you
someone
think?
is watching this video and they want to get help growing their personal brand, where do they go? It's just the lob. Hey, toss in the lob
slip
right
that
there.
one right in there.
Or no, throw in the lob. Yeah.
Well, they're gonna come to me. I'm the owner of Launch Socials. You guys know I'm Nick Rogers. The link for that is below. What do we do at Launch Socials? We help people push propaganda. Content is basically the modern version of propaganda. You can push it for free. You can get famous for free. You used to have to go to Hollywood to build a brand and become famous. You don't have to anymore. You can post short form videos. You can record a podcast like this. You can chop it up, and your short form videos can go viral. And then on the back end of that, you sell your own product, or you do a brand deal, collaboration, some kind of software, info, agency, whatever it is that you have and are doing, you sell that on the back end. All you need is the traffic. And so that's what we help people do. We help people push propaganda, build a brand, and we're the best at it. So they come here.
There we go.
Come to us. Yeah, respect, bro. I appreciate that.
There we
That's
go.
super
Yeah,
funny.
yeah,
I thought
for
you were going to
sure,
ask me a deep philosophical question. But no, I mean, I appreciate it, bro.
Hell yeah,
man.
thanks a
for
lot,
coming
man.
on. It's good to do this again.
Yep. So
we're gonna have to do more.
2028. 2028.
What is it right now? 2025.
Our last one was 3 years ago.
I think we should do at least one a year.
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least one a year.
yep,
maybe collab or something.
Yeah.
Some content, that sort of thing.
There we go.
Yeah, guys, if you're watching this and you want to learn more from Miles or see him, I'll link his Instagram, Twitter, YouTube down below. Otherwise, you know where to find me. My Instagram, Twitter, all my other YouTube channels are down below. Plus, if you want to work with me, down below as well. And see you in the next video.